A devastated Kamala Harris told her scores of tearful fans to keep fighting as she conceded election defeat to Donald Trump in Washington, D.C. The emotional vice president admitted this is not what we wanted as she took the stage at Howard University, almost 12 hours after the race was officially called for the former president. Harris, however, also vowed to help with the peaceful transfer of power, even as she said she would continue the battle after Trump's dominant victory. As of Wednesday afternoon, the former president had swept 5 of the 7 swing states and was on the edge of topping 300 electoral college votes. But while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign, she said. Her voice shook at times as she addressed a massive crowd of supporters at her alma mater. Her running mate Tim Walz stood in the crowd, fighting back tears as she spoke. Husband Doug Emhoff stood to the side, looking sad. Mina Harris and Ella Emhoff also held back tears.
Thank you all. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So let me say, and I love you back. And I love you back. So let me say, my heart is full today. My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me.
My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me. Full of love for our country and full of resolve, she said in her first appearance since voters rejected her vision for America. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright, she said. Harris thanked President Joe Biden, her family, her staff, and her supporters. She also expressed pride in her campaign. Look, I am so proud of the race we ran, and the way we ran it, she said. Now I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election, she said. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power. She said she would respect the election results. A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, that distinguishes democracy from monarchy and tyranny. Anybody that seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States, she added. Her supporters shed tears and shouted their love. Kamala, 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 the crowd shouted at her as she took the stage to Beyoncé's Freedom, her signature campaign song. We love you was screamed at her. I love you back, Harris said.
Republicans were doing really well. Stay online, don't get offline, and vote. Make sure you get through and vote. We're going to have a big victory tonight.
You did, thank you.
Harris also offered a message of hope to those broken up over her loss and warned of dark times ahead. To the young people that are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed. But please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win, she said. I'll close with this. There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, she added. Members in the crowd gasped at the moving quote. But for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. Here's the thing. America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant billion of stars, the light of optimism, of faith, of truth and service. Harris campaign aides stood to one side of the stage as she spoke and exchanged hugs, including Jen O'Malley Dillon, David Plouffe, and Brian Fallon. Despite a DJ blasting party music including Beyoncé and other hits, the mood of the event was dour. Supporters wept. Lots of hugs were exchanged. It stood in sharp contrast to the weather. It was an unseasonably warm 75-degree November day. As Harris spoke, it became golden hour as the sky glowed in light pinks and yellows. "I'm just so sad," said Christine Payak, a 69-year-old public school teacher who resides in Alexandria, Virginia. "I could just cry, so I just came to be with others to kind of find solace and a community. I just don't understand. All the enthusiasm and joy in large crowds. I'm just in disbelief," she continued. "And I'm really mourning the country, that more than half of the people could vote for him. It's very confusing," she added, pointing to Trump's hateful rhetoric and policies that would drastically impact areas like the environment, and half the county accepts it. Nicholas, a 19-year-old Howard University student who declined to give his last name but said he was born in Jamaica, also expressed dismay. "It seems like the vibes were on her side," he told DailyMail.com. "The polls didn't look that bad, and her losing every swing state so far seems like a landslide that wasn't expected. I thought it would be close." The first-time voter said he came to watch her address just to support Kamala. "She really inspired a lot of people. The first black woman to be a major candidate for one of the political parties," he said. A 25-year-old who wished to be referred to by her initials KF said she and her friends had gone to bed, thinking that like 2020 it could be days before there was a result. She woke up to the news of a Trump win and came to Howard to be with the like-minded. "I think I just wanted to be surrounded by other people and kind of get some sense of unity and inspiration even in the face of defeat, and being really disappointed and feeling kind of hopeless," KF said. Thing Tala. Some supporters commented to DailyMail.com that they felt better after the event.
The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up. I will never give up the fight for a future where Americans can pursue their dreams.
Ahead of her speech, Harris called Trump congratulating him and urging a peaceful transfer of power and encouraging him to be a president for all Americans. President Joe Biden then called Trump and invited him to the White House, just as Michigan was called the fifth swing state to go in the Republicans' favor. Her concession address came a little more than 15 hours after campaign co-chair Cedric Richmond, a Biden White House aide and former member of Congress from Louisiana, appeared on stage. He addressed what was left of the crowd on the Howard University quad a little before 1 a.m. on Wednesday. "We still have votes to count. We still have states that have not been called yet. We will continue overnight to fight to make sure that every vote is counted, that every voice is spoken, so you won't hear from the vice president tonight," Richmond said. What he didn't say was that there was still a viable path to victory. Throughout the night, the campaign highlighted data points that could spell surprise good news for Harris' higher than expected turnout in Philadelphia, votes yet to be counted in Detroit. But in the end, Harris didn't improve upon President Joe Biden's performance against Trump 4 years ago. Democrats had been counting on holding the trio of states Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania to give Harris the White House. Biden won them in 2020. But Trump won them instead, giving him 292 electoral votes to Harris's 224. It takes 270 to win the presidency. Harris is now on track to do worse than Hillary Clinton in the 2016 presidential election. She could even be on pace to have the worst electoral college result of any Democrat since the 1988 race. Trump is the first president in over 130 years, and only the second in history, to win a non-consecutive second term. Exit polls show his victory came after he made gains with nearly every voting bloc he lost in the 2020 election and put together a coalition of multi-ethnic working-class voters. And Harris did worse on Tuesday than Biden in the 2020 contest among key voting groups including women, the working class, and Latinos. The exit polls suggested voters trusted Trump more to fix the economy. They overwhelmingly believed the Biden-Harris administration had put the country on the wrong track. The blame game has begun. It should come as no great surprise that a Democratic Party which has abandoned working-class people would find that the working class has abandoned them, Senator Bernie Sanders said in a blistering statement. First it was the white working class, and now it is Latino and black workers as well. While the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change. And they're right. In fact, the Republican had made gains in nearly every demographic besides college-educated women. At Howard, Tuesday night had kicked off with a sense of elation. The nation was again close to electing its first female president and also the first female president of color. 2 barriers broken, the glass ceiling finally smashed. But a blonde billionaire businessman thwarted that effort again. As the election returns came in, the crowd got more quiet as a DJ loudly played music as the jumbotrons played a muted CNN. The volume only came on the TVs to announce Harris wins Washington, Hawaii, and then Virginia. It turned back off as John King showed his magic wall turning red. In the end, Harris' run was a Hail Mary pass. Harris ran the shortest presidential campaign in modern American history. She picked up the baton on July 21st from President Joe Biden after he decided to abandon his re-election bid after being pressured for weeks by Democratic Party heavyweights after his disastrous debate appearance against Trump. Voters, for months, had warned that they had major reservations about putting the 81-year-old back in office for 4 more years as he suffered gaffe after gaffe and stumble after stumble. Then, for 90 minutes on the Atlanta debate stage, the oldest president in U.S. history showed his age. Biden's chances of winning another 4 years quickly plummeted, and so he called Harris and asked her to take his place. With all the Democratic primaries already done, she was able to get the Biden delegates to commit to her in less than 36 hours. Harris accepted the Democratic nomination on the Chicago stage just 4 weeks later. She built what appeared to be a strong coalition of surrogates receiving support from progressive like Sen, Bernie Sanders, and Rep. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and anti-Trump Republicans like former Reps Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. Seeking to project a message of unity, Harris pledged that her opponents would get a seat at the table and promised to name a Republican member of her cabinet. She had a widely praised debate against Trump in September. On stage in Philadelphia, Harris successfully baited Trump into ranting about the crowd size at his events. "People start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom," said Harris, provoking a furious response. In one of the most memorable moments of the entire race, the former president accused Haitian immigrants in Springfield, Ohio, of eating the dogs, eating the cats. They're eating the pets. Harris laughed and called him extreme. The Democrat caught a lucky break when comedian Tony Hinchcliffe made a joke gone bad about Puerto Rico, describing the audience at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally as an island of garbage. The Harris campaign rapidly moved to court the influential Puerto Rican voting bloc, though that effort fell short. She made a number of verbal slips. Former Obama political advisor David Axelrod described her answers at a CNN town hall in late October as word salad city. Harris was also, perhaps, fortunate that there was no serious blowback from voters over allegations made about second gentleman Doug Emhoff. DailyMail.com reported that Emhoff had impregnated the family's nanny while married to his first wife, that he allegedly slapped an ex-girlfriend at the Cannes Film Festival, and had been inappropriate and misogynistic at work. Liberals like former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, AOC, and Lady Gaga had fawned over Emhoff and the way he supported his wife on the campaign trail. Harris had major support from Hollywood, too, and used celebrities to support her get-out-the-vote efforts. These included Oprah Winfrey, Beyoncé, Tyler Perry, John Legend, Lady Gaga, Fat Joe, Katy Perry, Kerry Washington, Eva Longoria, Jennifer Lopez, Bruce Springsteen, and more. Democratic Party superstars Barack and Michelle Obama supported her campaign in the closing weeks and days. The final days saw the Harris strategy pivot from attacking Trump to embracing what she termed joy, promising to be a president for all Americans. Her final rally was in Philadelphia in the all-important Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, a state that was called for Trump in the early morning hours. During that final address, held on the rocky steps alongside Oprah Winfrey and Lady Gaga, Harris didn't once mention Trump by name.